Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So guys, I hope you're all doing great. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I believe I was wrong on the last 2 or 3 videos. So the Noble team, but it's not being wrong about Noble. I actually think Noble's pretty viable and he's a really fun champion if nothing else, but this team is actually very dependent on Noble. So before, I was kind of leaning towards Kalvalax and Guurda. There's actually been quite a bit of hype around those two champions, and that those two champions work very well together and allow you to win Go Second teams. The idea was that this team, basically how it works, is you have the passive abilities of Kalvalax, Noble, and Guurda all synergizing very, very well together. So Kalvalax comes in and he places 5% poisons on everybody. Now this all happens before the enemies ever have any turn meter whatsoever, which is very, very important. And then Guurda comes in, she decreases each enemy's turn meter by 3%, so 4, 8, 12. Okay, so we have 4 poisons placed by Kalvalax, 3%. So 12% turn meter overall depleted, which is very good. And then Noble comes in and places a True Fear whenever an enemy has their turn meter fully depleted. So when you're using this team, what happens is you come in. Let's go ahead and give you guys an example. We're going to be going against this team. Maybe not the best example to give because Torment can freeze us, Rio can cleanse, but we'll try it out. So what happens is you come in here, Kalvalax places all the poisons, Guurda's decreasing the turn meter, supposedly, and then Noble is placing the True Fear on everybody. So we have True Fear on Rio. I guess it activated on Arbiter as well as Lady Kimmy. And this is where the team is very, very useful. So we have Arbiter and Kimmy. I think they activated. I wasn't even paying attention. Let me actually, okay. We'll just go ahead and do this. Basically, Noble cuts in, depletes everybody's turn meter by 50%, or reduces it by 50%. And then you have champions like Gaius, whoever your damage dealer is, comes in and just cleans everybody up. So I'm going to back out of this, see if they were faster than me, because that's the most important thing with this team, is if the enemy's faster than you, this team works out great. If they're not faster than you, then it doesn't really matter what the effects are because you'd probably win anyways, right? So this team, the goal is basically to make their main speed champion get locked out by the True Fear, or even Lady Kimmy, that's perfectly fine too. Basically throw their speed team out of whack. So what I have here is my Noble's like 320 speed. Typically, if you run Arbiter, your next champion to go is probably not going to be crazy fast because you have that big turn meter boost from Arbiter. The second champion can be pretty slow. So my Noble is in that gap. So that first champion has True Fear activate ideally. And then the next champion, my Noble cuts in, reduces everybody's turn meter by 50%. And then we just finish them off like that because 50% turn meter reduced is pretty significant. So the thing that's interesting to learn though, and that I started questioning on stream a few days ago when I was testing this team out some more, is that when the champions and their passives work, basically what happens is the enemies have 0% turn meter. I also have 0% turn meter. So initially I thought, okay, maybe Guurda is just reducing the turn meter so quickly that I'm not being able to see it. Well, if that was the case, then I would actually have turn meter on my champions. But what's actually happening is passive abilities don't, I guess, take turn meter into consideration whatsoever. So whenever Guurda does any turn meter reduce, it's counting as fully depleted, allowing Noble to actually place that True Fear. The bad part about this, though, is that if you were seeing Kalvalax and Guurda, and these two champions were pretty hyped, and how they would work together, ideally making it to where you could beat faster teams, but they don't actually work like that, unfortunately. So those two champions together really aren't doing anything. So if you're winning matches with these two champions, you're actually just faster than the enemy, period. Which is kind of weird because I've seen a lot of tests where people are actually using fairly slow champions, but still beating the enemy. So how I actually came to this conclusion, like pretty solidly, is that I went in here to chapter 3, I think it was, Brutal. So we scroll down here. Actually, I think I did normal. So did normal, 3, went down here to stage 6, and the Dampiers on this stage, okay? So the very first champion on the first section of this map is going to be Dampier, I do believe. So down here, this champion right here, and Dampier has 98 speed. So what I'm doing to test this out, 98 speed Dampier versus my Incubus, who has 95 speed. So Dampier has 3 more speed. If Kalvalax, not Galvalax, if Kalvalax and Guurda were working how I initially thought they were going to work, and basically reducing the enemy's turn meter, allowing you to cut in, that would mean that on this stage, that I would be able to cut in on the enemy, and my Incubus would go before the enemy's Dampier, because 12% turn meter should allow for that difference, right? But let's see if that's actually how it works. So we'll place the poison on everybody. We did the decreased turn meter on everybody. And then we'll use the A1 from Guurda. We use the A1 from Kalvalax. We have 2 Dampiers left. But watch here. So Guurda's going to take another turn. Watch this Dampier right here. She takes a turn before my Incubus. So my Incubus has no gear, has nothing. He's just a base 95 speed. The enemy's Dampier is also a base 98 speed, but even with Kalvalax and Guurda, there's no actual turn meter decreased. So with this team, if you were looking at it and thinking, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and rank up my Kalvalax, rank up my Guurda, go ahead and build this team because it looks pretty cool. It's definitely one of the most fun teams. You need to make sure you have Noble as well. Noble is actually very, very crucial to this team, which is weird. I know a lot of you out there went in here and +1'd your ninja with your Noble, and you're just hard hanging on to that. You know, yes, I made a great decision. I +1 my ninja. I got those extra 10% HP, attack, defense, accuracy, resist. I don't need Noble, and that may be true. Maybe you don't want to try this team. That's perfectly fine. But if you want to make this team work, you're going to need Noble. Now, you don't have to have Kalvalax. You can use Hegemon instead, because Hegemon is actually going to work very well in the sense that he's going to go when the enemy actually has turn meter. So Hegemon's passive makes him always go first, but he doesn't do anything before the enemy takes a turn. Like Necrit, for example, places the shield before Hegemon ever even goes. So Hegemon gets the very first turn no matter what his speed is, so the enemy has turn meter. In this case, you could use Hegemon's A2. If you got lucky and placed block active skills, decrease attack, and you had a stun set, you placed all three of those, the enemy's turn meter would then be decreased by 369% based on Guurda's passive, reducing the turn meter by 3% for each debuff placed. So basically, this team is saying that if you want to build it, you got to build Noble. Now, let's be honest, you don't have to have Noble even level 60. Kalvalax doesn't need to be level 60, and Guurda doesn't have to be level 60 because their roles are very much dependent on their accuracy. Now, Noble does benefit from being level 60 because you can get more speed, more accuracy, everything. Mastery's done, the whole 9 yards. He's definitely going to get a lot more value from being level 60. But as far as placing the True Fear, Kalvalax placing the poisons, Guurda placing the decreased turn meter, all of that is heavily predicated on just having plenty of accuracy, and you can get that at a pretty low level. But to be honest, I do like Noble at level 60, makes it a lot easier. And honestly, he's done very well because being a Force Affinity champion, he actually soloed a Rotos after everybody else was dead yesterday on stream, which is pretty crazy. So I guess that basically confirms that Noble is greater than Rotos. I wish I had the clip to show you guys, but I don't save my VODs on Twitch. They get copyright muted, so it is what it is. But it was basically the end of the match. So being strong affinity, it was a lot easier for him to handle the Rotos and all the weak hits. But this team is definitely a lot of fun. It's definitely been the team that's caused me to get the most attacks, period, on Classic Arena as well as Tag Team Arena. So we have so many attacks, both sides. Got a lot of losses here. We're getting a lot of wins yesterday. So in 3v3, I feel like that's pretty solid. Pretty solid amount of wins. I've been playing with my defense quite a bit, but I did want to share this with you guys because, like I said, this team has been gathering a decent amount of hype, and I wanted you guys to know that initially when I saw this, I thought Kalvalax and Guurda were the main two, but come to find out, they don't actually do anything, and that if you're faster, you're just faster. It wasn't actually because they were decreasing any turn meter. I'll go through and do a few more matches. Actually, I did a video on this completely already. If you guys want to see that video, I'll link it at the end of this video. But to go over the champion speeds and everything, I'll go ahead and click through everybody. The main thing is make sure Guurda's faster than Gaius or whatever nuker you use. I love Gaius. He can go through Stone Skin, go through Reaction. He's an amazing champion. He's perfect for this team, I think. Good attack, good accuracy, decent speed, all works perfect. Guurda is actually a very solid champion. I need to get her leveled up because level 2 is just, and she needs to be a little bit higher. But this can remove 1 random buff from all enemies and remove 2 debuffs from all allies. Also removes 2 random debuffs from all allies, which is really good against Hegemons because Hegi places up to 2 debuffs, maybe even 3 if he has a stun set or whatever else may be, taunting set. But I've had Guurda actually cleanse my Gaius and strip enemies immunity, allow Gaius to place bombs, and GG, it's over because Gaius bombs hit so hard. His attack is okay, pretty decent, 7,000 attack right now. Let's go ahead and jump in here. We'll do a few matches. This team has definitely got some RNG behind it. First off, you're hoping the enemy doesn't have immunity gear. Second off, you're hoping that the True Fear actually procs. If True Fear doesn't proc, then you're not going to win, period. So also, I kind of want him in immunity gear, but getting immunity fast, high accuracy is a little bit difficult. So when things like that happen, definitely not great. We do have reaction gear. It does help out quite a bit. Let's see. Boom, Gaius actually survived. Don't proc True. Okay, look at that. So I had True Fear on the enemy. None of it procced. They had 2 fears on me. Both of them procced. Pretty weird, pretty unfortunate. Let's go ahead and do that again because that is very, very frustrating when that happens. So like I said, the team is very RNG heavy most of the time because if none of the True Fear procs, then the team's just going to wipe you like you just saw. But if the Arbiter literally procs her fear like that, it's easy. Because now I can reduce everybody's turn meter. Not going to be an issue whatsoever. Literally, it's such a huge difference in just one turn happening. So watch this. We're going to remove these 2 debuffs from all of our allies and remove 1 buff from enemy. Let's see. Boom. We have no debuffs on us now. If that was a block active skills, if that was a fear, anything, we wouldn't have had it any longer, which is just so, so nice. We're going to use a single target just so we don't wake anybody up. You know, if they're sleeping, might as well leave them asleep until Gaius takes his turn, or sorry, Noble. I get messed up on these champions' names because I don't use them that much. I'll learn them pretty well here soon, guys. But Noble, once I was Ruel fanboy, I think I need to change it to Noble fanboy now. For this team specifically, he works good. Now, if you're a newer player watching this video and you're thinking, yo, I've seen Noble do pretty good in the arena. Well, he's not going to be amazing everywhere. He is a lot better than what people give him credit for, especially after his buff. Higher chance plays True Fear. I forget exactly what all went to his buff, but he does have very solid wave control. If you need wave control, very, very solid there. Campaign, dungeons, faction wars, amazing. Clan boss, Hydra, you're not going to use him there, to be honest. But arena, and this team specifically, he works solid. I don't know if he's going to work in all arena teams very solid. He is a turn meter decrease champion, so he does have some usability, but this team specifically, he's actually working pretty well in my opinion. So I'll do some 3v3 after this, but I did want to bring this to your guys' attention since I did kind of make this team a little bit more widely known, because I put out a video a few days ago talking about it, and I was talking about Kalvalax and Guurda so heavily. I did want to say that, at least for my testing, you guys can definitely let me know if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I would much rather be wrong about being wrong, you know, because in that case, that means these champions do work and you can use it against faster teams than you, and you can win those speed races, no problem whatsoever. It's even better. But from the testing I've done, that's not the case. And unfortunately, Kalvalax, my goodness, Kalvalax and Guurda don't actually pair together like I thought they did. But that does let our boy Noble shine. And man, I've been loving him. I basically did 5 hours of arena with Noble yesterday on stream. Noble content. Who would have imagined? Who would have imagined? Now, Lysandra, she's annoying with Gaius bombs. She just throws them back. That's pretty frustrating for real. But Gaius, he just cleans up everybody. Very, very good. Now, let's go over here to 3v3. 3v3, let's try to find a... Okay, perfect example, okay? Let's see if we beat this team. It's going to heavily rely on, do we place the True Fear? Does it activate? If it does, good. If it doesn't, it's not so good. If they have immunity, we get ruined, okay? Warlord in immunity, okay? Everybody's in immunity. Okay, so like I said, this team, immunity, not really the best thing for it. So we just get absolutely destroyed if they have immunity gear. So we'll just, we'll quit the series. I don't feel like waiting through the other stuff. We're far enough in the green that we should be safe. Let's go find a different team. So let's see. Leo is pretty much a nightmare because Leo actually is unkillable, basically ruins that team. Let's go ahead and try this one more time. And this will probably be the last Gaius video that I do for a little while. I may skip the second match because it's just going to take too long. Actually, let's go ahead and skip to the actual Gaius team. I'll do some more 3v3 showcase later on down the road, but here comes the Gaius team. All right, guys, so let's see how this Gaius team works. Place a True Fear on everybody. Ramatu doesn't even care. Arbiter gets hard blocked by that True Fear, and boom. The thing that's cool about True Fear is that Arbiter can't use that turn meter boost on her A3 anymore. So Gaius comes in, reduces everybody's turn meter. Lysandra got activated by the True Fear as well, which is very, very good. I do need Evil Eye on Guurda just in case situations like this happen where I actually need to reduce their turn meter. Let's go ahead and cleanse everything from everybody. There we go. We cleanse everything from our allies. I got to be careful about stacking too many debuffs as well. I've definitely filled the debuff bar to 10 and just get ruined because I can't place no more bombs. I have like one bomb go off. It doesn't kill the enemy, whatever it may be. And then the team blows up. That's another thing cool about Noble is that since he's Force Affinity, he gets weak hit by Trunda like just then. So he's still alive. So even if they had somebody with Swift Parry, he would still be alive. He could go use his A1 ability, reduce the turn meter of that Swift, or reduce the duration of that Swift Parry, that unkillable buff, and then be good to go. Win the match. No real problem whatsoever. So guys, like I said, that should be my last video on Noble. Maybe, unless I do plat push tonight, then I think I'm bound to use this team. Like I kind of have to, right? Like I've done so many videos on it at this point, I have to use this team at least once. So this is the team. Not a whole lot of deviation from this. Come to find out, Kalvalax and Guurda don't actually do what I originally thought they did. So the more you know, guys, let me know if you found out anything differently. Let me know if you have solid information on these two champions actually reducing the turn meter. But if not, until then, Kalvalax, Guurda, and Noble, They're the dream team. The 3 champions who I never thought I'd be using in the arena are actually the dream team. There we go, guys. So you heard it here first. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.